Hello. Welcome everyone back to another episode of Shape Your Truth podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kamika, and today we have with us our guest, Cassandra Hill. And let me tell you a little bit about our guest today. Okay, she is joining us. This lady is a master coach, best-selling author, speaker, and she's very passionate and about empowering Black women to elevate themselves and deal with their emotions and spirituality. And she talks about her mental well-being and things like that. So we're welcoming her today. We're glad to have her to be able to talk with us. So listen closely. She's going to drop some nuggets on you guys, okay, today. Thank you for being here, Cassandra. How are you
Thanks.
today?
I am doing great. How are you, Dr. Kamika?
I'm okay. I'm glad that you were able to join with us today. Did you want to just introduce yourself or say anything before we get started?
Sure. Hello, you guys. So glad that you're tuned in to Shape Your Truth today. I know that the best version of you is on the way.
Yay. Yay. You got some hope. Okay. All right. So, Cassandra, we see that you doing things to influence Black women in America and trying to just bring some empowerment and awareness. And you've been working with organizations like Golden Sachs and Nashville Voyager. Can you start by telling us a bit about your journey and what drives your passion about helping Black women live lives on their own terms?
Sure. For me, many of us, we're taught, to get an education. Once you get that education, you go to corporate.
Mhm.
And I went that path,
Mhm.
after college, get my bachelor's, master's. I entered corporate America, worked in corporate for a little over a decade.
Mhm.
And you're climbing that corporate
Yeah,
ladder,
yeah. Mhm.
climbing, and
Mhm.
you quote unquote success. But the one problem, like the
Mhm.
one thing they forget to tell us while you're doing all this and
Mhm.
you're neglecting yourself, eventually
Mhm.
your body is going to force
Yeah.
a vacation.
Right.
And so my body forced a vacation. I had a complete shutdown
Yeah.
and
Oh.
I was diagnosed with systemic lupus.
Okay.
And at that point, I thought, okay, here I am in my 30s,
Yeah.
just feeling good about where I'm at career wise, but
Mhm.
something has to change.
Right.
And so when I initially began treatment, part of my treatment included chemo drugs, steroids, all
Mhm.
these things. And it came with so many side effects that
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yes.
this cannot be it. But I felt like my voice was ignored. I was expected to live in pain.
Mm.
A lot of healthcare professionals think that we can handle pain on a next
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so I was experiencing that just across the board. And eventually I went back to college, started taking courses in alternative medicine, health
Yeah.
and wellness. And the more I learned and applied to my life, I started feeling better. And,
Mhm.
and as God would have it, I went back to the doctor thinking I was
Mhm.
going to get another transfusion. They run my labs and everything was normal.
Wow.
I was in
Wow.
full blown remission from systemic lupus. And I knew my healing wasn't just for
Mhm.
me. It
Yeah.
couldn't have been just for me. And so I'm like, okay, Lord, what's next? And what led me to decide that this was the path God wanted for me, so many of us work ourselves like I did to
Mhm.
exhaustion, almost to death,
Right. Mhm.
whether it's in corporate America or even in our businesses, if
Correct.
we're doing the corporate escape, but as we're escaping corporate, if we take that same behavior into our business, we'll get the same results. And
Right.
so I
Mhm.
decided I wanted to be a part of the change in empowering us to have well being.
Right. Yeah. And you said it was something really good. You're talking about it. Said something about how you felt emotionally, how you felt spiritually, and your mental well being. Because we're a whole person. We're not just these different parts of ourselves. We have to and be well all around. So I really like that you talked about that, like a balance, a harmony
Yeah.
in what we're doing. Okay, and that's what's incredible. So today we're going to dive into those concept about holistic transformation, and it involves like you were saying, integrating the mind, body, and spirit to achieve balance and fulfillment in life. And so let's talk about the basics. Okay, so how did you define your holistic transformation?
Holistic transformation is when your body is in harmony to where the physical aspect of your health, emotional, mental, even your financial are all
Yeah,
in
yeah,
balance to where you're able to operate in excellence. You know, that's real holistic transformation.
that's yeah. When your body is able to, it's like in you in working in synergy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good aspect. Harmony, everything is an integrative approach, not just functioning on a disease state,
Yeah.
but like in a bubble, but all that goes into that, how you feel about what's happening, getting this diagnosis, what you can do to try to see if you can get to the root cause of why this is happening, instead of
Yeah.
just like throwing darts
Yeah.
at the target in the dark. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm glad, like, a lot of people don't get proactive, and this coming from the healthcare side of it. They're not proactive about
No.
doing things about their health. And they
Yeah.
just put all the emphasis on the responsibility on the doctor or the healthcare providers around them. So you really did take a proactive approach. So can you tell me a little bit about how that idea formed in your minds, like that this wasn't just on the doctors, you had to take action yourself?
What I discovered, I actually started having symptoms while an undergraduate student
Mm-hmm.
in college. I started having symptoms, but at that time, I was told that I was anemic.
Mm-hmm.
And although I never really fully believed that that was the issue, I always felt it was something more. I believed,
Mm-hmm.
the doctor
Mm-hmm.
and other healthcare professionals. But fast forward, by the time I was diagnosed with systemic lupus, I looked at it. I've relied so much on traditional
Mm-hmm.
healthcare that it's been to my own detriment, and no one knows my body better than me.
Right.
So I knew that in order for healing to take place, that I would need to be responsible about my health and well-being and learn as much as I could learn, as well as um, during that time, it wasn't just physical, although yes, I had this condition that was physical, but getting in therapy, eventually
Mhm. Yeah.
investing with a coach, having that,
Yeah.
because most of the time, are you could have, let's say you're a type 2 diabetic.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
a physical condition you have. However, for most people, and this is what I find even with my coaching, you have
Mhm.
this, but then you have unhealthy eating that's
Mhm.
tied to motion,
Mhm.
feeling. Um,
Mhm.
I'm in a relationship that's unhealthy. So
Mhm.
you could go to the doctor and he could give you a metformin or, insulin, all these
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
if you don't address the relationship, you're just a revolving door.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so for me, when I looked at my life, I realized, okay, there's some things that I can do that, if I'm just being honest, that
Mm-hmm.
would improve my health better than what's recommended by traditional practitioners.
Mm-hmm. And you said like you did a self assessment on yourself, and a lot of times you said something really true about trusting the doctor. And we come from a culture. First of all, you don't trust them anyway because of just being raised with knowing
Yeah.
what happened to Black people in this country regarding healthcare, not just other things, but healthcare specifically.
Yeah.
And then so you grow up with this non-trust, and then you try to let them take care of you, and they're doing is throwing things at you. They don't even try to explain anything to you
Yeah.
and act like you're not capable of understanding, or even giving you that chance to make some lifestyle changes. Just they're not going to do it anyway. That's the mindset. And so you're not they're not even offered to you. So when you look back and you did your self-assessment about what you wanted to do and made goals about how you want to go about that, and knowing that these people they're not going to believe that you're going to follow through with anything. How did you set goals to make sure you follow through with those changes you want to make?
Yeah, that's where those SMART goals really come in handy, making
Mm-hmm.
sure that I was specific with my goals. I want to decrease pain. I want
Mm-hmm.
to exercise 2 days a week, and, making sure they were specific as well as
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
measurable. Just like I said, I want
Smart.
to do this many times. And then the A goals that you could actually
Mm-hmm.
achieve, that's
Attainable.
realistic, and
Mm-hmm.
have a time. People, if you
Yeah.
have like, okay, I want to lose weight,
Yeah.
but you don't put, well, I want to lose 10 pounds by July 10th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are you doing? You don't have like a hard deadline on making this reality, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was the SMART goals, and then it was having accountability, you
Right.
know,
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
looking at your inner circle, those
Mm-hmm.
people you spend the most time with, those
Right.
individuals are pushing you to become your best self, or individuals who are stunning your growth.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
And once you identify who fits in what category, you have to make some decisions and decide what you want for your life. And for me, that meant changing my circle up
Mm-hmm.
to
Change
a certain
yourself up.
extent.
Mm-hmm.
There's people come into our life for a reason, a
Mm-hmm.
season,
See that.
a lifetime. There's
Mm-hmm.
very few lifetime people. And
Mm-hmm.
so when a person gets to their expiration date, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to that individual to keep them in your life past the expiration date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, those kind of things can put a lot of negativity in your mind, and just a negative around you, negative atmosphere, and kind of mess with your mental clarity. And so it's hard to see goal. It's hard to see opportunities. It's hard to get your mind on focus on meeting that goal without having with all these little chaoses around. So I like to think wanted to ask about how did you get your mind ready for it? How did you get the mental clarity involved to make these changes? What did you do?
A detox is so important. A lot of times we think of detoxing our body. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Diet wise, we may have some days where we stay off meat, we're doing
Mm,
the fruits, veggies, all those things, which is great. But doing a mind detox is just as important. And for me, when I do a mind detox, I normally actually incorporate it into my body, physical
mm-hmm.
body
Yeah. Mhm.
detox. And so what it looks like is 7 days
Okay.
where my mind, I'm taking a break from social media, just taking a break from television as well, just no distractions. With that, I'm waking up daily, doing meditation and
Mm-hmm.
prayer. After that, I'm spending 20 minutes of quiet. I'm not moving, I'm not doing any type of activity. I am still, because
Mm.
in the stillness, that's when we can hear
Mhm.
God,
Mm.
because He's listening. He listens to us all day,
Mhm.
every day, and
Mhm.
He's talking to us, but are we listening? Can we
Mhm.
hear Him?
Mhm.
So that's really important, because as He's communicating with us, we know what steps we should be taking and what steps we shouldn't be taking. As you have more time,
Mhm.
because you've taken that break from television, from media in general, you're
Mhm.
feeding your mind positive things,
Right.
whether that's through the material you read, whether it's through audiobook, what you
Right.
listen to, or listening to great podcasts like
Mhm.
this. You're feeding your mind positivity every day, doing
Right.
that
Okay.
7 days. And honestly, you really should continue that even
Yeah.
past the 7 days. But those are some of the things you're doing in a mind detox. And for a bonus, I'm going to throw in what you would in a physical
Mhm.
detox. You're giving yourself, if you do eat meat, getting a break from the meat, you're
Mm,
eating
yeah.
your fruits and veggies, you're drinking
Mhm.
water, juices, natural
Yeah.
juices,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
and real smoothies. And when I say real smoothies, I'm not talking about the ones you can get,
At the
um,
grocery store.
yeah, at the grocery store, that's packed with a lot of
For
sugar. All
sugar.
of the, your smoothies are fruit, veggies, plant-based milk,
Mhm.
maybe some flaxseed, or
Yeah.
something like that thrown in there.
Mhm.
No alcohol, no soda.
Right. Mhm. Well, a lot of things you just said, just been into this studying about the brain and things like that lately, and that you said throwing in that flaxseed and giving your brain those good fats that the brain needs, all this fat, and then that alcohol. If you letting go of that, alcohol just kills the cell. It does no good to your body. I mean, in the long run, you know what I mean. So, and I'm like, no wonder you don't have mental clarity. You put in all these things inside that are not even that are damaging your brain cells. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Good.
true.
Mm-hmm.
Because our brain cells, as you know, our brain cells grow, they regenerate. We get new ones just about almost every month for the average
Mm-hmm.
adult.
Mm-hmm.
But those new cells that are being developed, you control what they look like, what
Mm-hmm.
when they enter the brain. It's
Mm-hmm.
based off what you feed yourself, not just what you're putting in your mouth, but what you
Mm-hmm.
feed. This
Yeah.
is well.
Stimuli. Yeah. Yeah. With you music, what you watch. Yeah. Yeah. So that was excellent advice. Okay, so you're gonna move on to the body. We talk about our mind. Let's move on to the body. What are some key strategies for achieving physical health and wellness when you started to make this whole taking control of your life?
Yeah, really important moderation, because for many people, they feel like, oh, I can't give up bread.
Mm,
Okay, you can't give it up, but can you, instead of having white bread, could you do wheat bread, or could you do potato
mm-hmm.
or rye, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe have that 3 days instead of every day, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So moderation, make realistic changes that work for you, because for most people, they do diets, and diets don't work because you're not able to maintain that
Sustain. Mm-hmm.
for long term. So
Mm-hmm.
it's about making lifestyle changes, what that looks like for you. For me,
Mm,
example, I can't even remember the last time I had a soda. It's been so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when I was looking at what changes I wanted to make, I was like, okay, I drink soda, but it's not something that I just have to have. I can rid this out and be okay. So you look at your lifestyle, you think about what works for you. Maybe you're busy, you may
Mm-hmm.
be in that C suite in corporate, or you may
Mm-hmm.
have a business and you're working for long hours and you think, well, I don't have time to cook on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe eating healthy for you, maybe getting healthy meals delivered to
Yeah.
your home.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
find out what works for you and be consistent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I think too, like you're saying, you outsourcing it because if you're that busy, planning goes into place. You have to make it a priority, right? So if maybe you don't have time to wash the clothes, you want to cook for your family. Well, let's let somebody else come wash the clothes, or let somebody else do some housekeeping, so you can spend the time, so you can
Yeah.
do cook the food. But we try to be all things to all people, and that's why I feel like we get overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
then you start the whole cycle again,
Yeah.
eating the wrong way, and yeah, just a repetitive cycle. Yep. So I think that was a good tip. Yep. So what do you do for your recovery, or how do you like set some time, specific time aside to recover, or take care of yourself that's specifically to you, some you time?
Oh wow, that's so important, and I
Mhm.
promise you, I do it all the time. So one of the things I love doing, I'm really into aromatherapy.
Mhm.
I love my candles. As far as the essential oils, lavender and peppermint are two of my
Mhm.
go-tos for relaxation. I like rose
Mhm.
as well. So even
Mhm.
something like that, whether I'm putting it in a bath or in
Mhm.
a diffuser, just to alleviate stress, um,
Mhm.
just to bring feelings of calm. Those essential oils are really good for that. Even with my candles, I'm
Mhm.
picky with the
What
flavors
time? Yeah.
to, create those um,
Mhm.
moments of peace.
Mhm.
I'm a big reader. I enjoy reading. That
Mhm.
puts me
Mhm.
in a serene mood. So setting
Mhm.
aside time for that.
Right. Yeah.
For
Mhm.
those of us who's listening that's an entrepreneur, it's your business. You control how many clients you will sell, the days you work. For
Mhm.
me, what that looks like as far as coaching clients, I
Mhm.
do that Tuesday through Thursday.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those are my coaching days. The other days are for other things, but you know what works for you. For you,
Right.
it may be one day where you don't have clients, but you figure out a schedule because our bodies are not designed to operate 24/7.
Right. Oh yeah.
If
Yeah.
God rested, if He
Yeah.
created the whole world and rested,
Yeah.
you know you need to rest.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, and that's really good about the essential oil. So you can do that like in the moment and say, "Oh, I'm feeling away. Let me just put on my candle. You have your music, whatever that is." But sometimes I like to tell when I'm telling my client, like, you have to have a specific day or a activity where you said, I'm gonna set this side of time this month, and this is my posh day. That's what I call it. You was gonna do your little pampering on yourself. So set aside a posh event or a posh day to just like, it's not about the kids, it's not about the husband, it's not about the church. You're gonna do something specifically for you,
Yeah.
and a little bit of pampering. I like to go and get a pedicure, manicure, and it's just me. I'm in the nail lady, and that's a little like let me kind of decompress a little bit and not have to worry about and I allow myself to compress, because sometimes we still taking those things into that little quiet space, like you said, with the candles and everything, still taking those issues, not like shutting it out the doors. So that's a little thing that I do for my self care. Yeah, self care. So just an example. So Cassandra,
Yeah.
so I was going to ask you about practices to. We talk about the self care. Now, how do you nurture your spirit? What do you do in those? What are your practice? What best practice you have from you saying you wanted to take back control of your life on your own terms? How does spirituality play a place in that, and how you nurture that relationship?
Oh, wow. That's so important. That's a great question because I believe that our bodies are spiritual beings. And so tapping into that is key.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't tap into that, I don't feel we can have wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, tapping into that, I, as a woman of faith, I believe God created my body
Mm, yeah.
and He made me whole and
Mm-hmm.
perfect. And so for me to tap into my spirituality, it means me connecting with Him more,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's through prayer, writing my prayers,
Mm-hmm.
prayer journals.
Yeah.
I'm biased, of course, to mine, but just writing prayers out, getting your thoughts out, opening up His Word and
Right,
reading
right,
because
right.
it's
Mhm.
just like any other book you pick up. If I was to read a book you write,
Right,
I would
right.
learn more about you, and
Mhm,
it's
mhm,
no different with God. When we pick up
mhm,
His book, we learn more about Him. And then I think another thing that helps in increasing your spirituality is believing God for the supernatural.
mm, mm,
You
yeah.
know, especially for us entrepreneurs. And I tell you guys this, and I promise you, I'm in a season where I'm having to believe
Mm,
God
mm, trust them.
for some just a lot is on the horizon in the
Mhm,
background with me. And you know, when we think about faith, faith is what we cannot see.
mm,
And
yeah.
so if God made us whole and complete and He knows our steps before we even take that step, you know, every good and perfect gift comes from Him. I have to believe that that's possible. Whatever
Mhm,
He has spoken over me, over my life, regardless of what it looks like here in the
mhm,
natural, I have to believe that's possible. And that takes a lot of faith. And
right.
so I think to increase our faith, you know,
Mhm,
we get in community.
mhm.
Yeah,
Community.
as I see my sister win,
Yeah.
that, and then when she sees me win, and it just creates a domino effect where, wow, can you believe we were talking about this,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
look how it showed
mhm.
up in the real world. So I believe having community helps so much with.
Yeah, having people like you, think like you, are not going to be weirded out by what you're saying or giving you all these putting doubt. Oh, that's not possible, kind of thing. They believe in the same way you do. And I wanted to ask, when you taking clients, how important is it to you that they respect when you may say something about the Lord, you may say something about that, and do you ever have that conflict of bringing up your spirituality in your business?
No, I don't because before anyone becomes a client, we do what's called a clarity consultation. I get to
Mhm.
know them, they get to know me, and we determine if we're a fit for one another. And
Mhm.
that really makes it a
Mhm.
win-win experience for both parties involved
Mhm.
because and I know people have all types of,
Mhm.
you know, religious background. There's so many religions out there. However, I feel if a person did not believe in God at all, I may wouldn't be the best. I wouldn't be the best fit for them,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I would just be honest and communicate that to them
Mhm.
because when you're in business, it cannot just be about a dollar.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
You want to connect with the people that God has called you to serve. That's how I look
Right.
at my business. I
Right.
want to reach the women He's called me to serve. And when I'm developing strategies for my clients, please know, yes, I'm petitioning our Heavenly Father.
Mhm. So
You
that's out
know,
there in the front. So they no
um,
surprise.
yeah. So if
Mhm.
that's not something you want to be a part of, yeah,
Mhm.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
want to work with me, and that's okay.
That's okay. It's being okay with that and trying. I know, like sometimes, especially being new entrepreneurs on your own. Like some of us, we work for people, we work for businesses, but we had that backing from that and that confidence from the bigger, executives or the company or corporate. But when you're on your own, sometimes it seems like the switch gets turned on. Like you have to you become less valuable or something. So you don't you willing to take whatever, even and you wouldn't even take that in dating. So you want to make this interview with the person like, well, I don't think we gonna
Yeah,
we I
yeah,
don't think this is gonna work out from this date. This date is not gonna. So we don't have to be in a
yeah,
relationship with everybody we encounter. So that's a good point when you do that
yeah,
pre interview, with pre-screening
yeah,
connection call. Yeah, that's what it is.
yeah,
Connection call.
yeah,
It's no
yeah.
connection here.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
because as you mentioned, a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're afraid because let's
Mhm.
be real, this is our
Mhm.
livelihood, and for
Mhm.
some of us, that's full time entrepreneurs. You know,
Mhm.
your there will be seasons where your business is slow, just point
Mhm.
blank, period.
Right.
And then you think back, oh, I remember when I decided to not move forward with this person for
Mhm.
whatever reason.
Mhm.
But when you start having those scarcity thoughts,
Mindset. Mm.
that's what you'll keep attracting. So
Mm.
it's really important to hone in on that mindset, have an abundance mindset, and know that the right people in
Mhm.
God's
Mm.
time
Mm.
will be drawn to your business.
Right. Those wrong people might be more headache than help. And yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I love that we've been talking about these things, and it's still from a holistic approach, okay? But balance is really crucial with these tips. So that's why I feel like you got to talk about relationship, emotion, all of those things. We got to tie it into. So how was it for you on the relationship front when you did you have any trouble when you're married or you're dating? How was that when you decided like I'm making a change here? I don't do this. I don't because when you say I'm not eating this effort no more, I'm not good going here no more. It affects more than just you sometimes. 'Cause we don't live as an island.
no.
Hmm.
Um, I can tell you at the beginning of me deciding that I wanted to do what was best for Cassandra,
Hmm.
that meant the end of a marriage,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
and sometimes,
Sorry.
you know, as I mentioned, people come into our life for a reason,
Hmm.
a season, a lifetime.
Hmm.
Yes, in the ideal situation, it would be great to have a marriage that lasts a lifetime. That's ideal.
Right. Right. Hmm.
However, that doesn't always happen.
Right.
And
Right.
so, when you're focused on healing you,
Hmm.
you have to be honest and look at those intimate relationships and determine, is this person allowing, well, not allowing, is this person contributing to my detriment?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know And I say this especially for the sisters that's listening,
Mhm.
because for many Black women, we experience mistreatment in relationships. When
Mhm.
we think about the Black woman, right now, the National Abuse Hotline reports that 45% of Black women experience either stalking,
Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
violence, or SA in
Mm.
relationships.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so I say that to say, sister, know your worth, know who you
Right.
are. And as you start loving yourself, the more and more you grow to love yourself, although it may not be the easiest thing,
Mhm.
you'll find it comforting to get out of situations that aren't healthy.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. It's trying to gain some resiliency. That's what I think because yeah, this is it's not an easy bad thing all the time. This life that this job called life that we're trying to work on every day. Yeah. So yeah, and abuse is part of it. Traumas are part of it, and we gotta find a way to deal with it. And I find out a lot of Black women we just repress things, and then you blow up. So yeah, it comes out in your health in certain situations. So yeah, I agree with that. That was really insightful. Also wanted to talk about how you work into the community with the women. So when you go out into the community with the women, what kind of initiatives are you working on in the community? Or what can we expect to help you? In what area can we be some help or take advantage of some of your the things you're doing in the community?
Sure. You know, empowering those who have been disenfranchised is really, really important to me. One of the initiatives that I'm working on right now that address women who have experienced domestic abuse, I'm
Mhm.
working with a domestic abuse shelter
Mhm.
and offering those women one of my books. It's a devotional, and
Mhm.
so just having inspirational material there for those ladies. That's something I'm currently doing.
Mhm.
And in the very near future, I
Mhm.
will be offering free life coaching for those women who want to have life coaching. I will
Mhm.
be offering that pro bono. Another initiative that I'm super excited to be a part of is with Moving Day Mafia.
No, tell us
It is
about
a nonprofit organization that supports HBCU students who have aged out of foster care and
that.
they're entering
Mhm.
college. We make sure that these students have a traditional college experience. We move them in. We
Mhm.
make sure they have their essentials, in move in, just
Mhm.
microwave, refrigerator, just all the
Yeah.
things
Mhm.
college student would need that a parent normally would help with, but in
Mhm.
this circumstance, they don't have that. And then we ensure that they get monthly care packages as well. You
Oh,
know, they're gonna
yeah.
need
Yes,
toiletries. The
definitely.
ladies, they'll need feminine product.
Mhm.
Just
Yep.
things that a lot of times we take for granted.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
these kids don't have
Mhm.
a mom
Mhm.
or a dad or a grandparent or where they
Mhm.
could just call up and say, hey, send me
Yep. $20.
$20. I need to make a Walmart or
Yeah.
Target run to get my stuff. We ensure that they get those things. So those are two things that I'm doing within the community, and how you can support me. The best way is support me. Just check out my link tree, Healer
Mhm.
Cassandra, link tree / Healer Cassandra.
Okay.
I do have products, whether it is my digital courses, books, as well as my one on one coaching. If you're ready
Mhm.
to grow into the best version of you, check out the products that I have there and what resonates with you. With
Mhm.
my digital courses, I do offer unlimited access. They're self-paced. It's really a great way for you to gain tools that will change your life, whether it's as an entrepreneur and self care. I have a course centered around self care
Mhm.
in the entrepreneur. I also have a digital course, Unlocking the New True Authentic You,
Okay.
specifically for Black women. It's all about us knowing our worth, loving ourselves, boosting our self esteem.
Mhm.
So, if you know that there's some work to do in you healing as a Black woman, that's a course I would highly recommend.
Yeah.
Because, how I'm able to do these initiatives comes from you guys, your support, whether it's through buying
Mhm.
a book or enrolling in a course,
Mhm.
you're empowering me to make a difference in the people who lives who really just need some guidance and assistance. So
Mhm.
anytime you decide to support me, those are the initiatives that's I'm paying it forward to.
Closest to your heart. So, Cassandra. So you said you had the diagnosis of lupus diagnosis. And that is it's diagnosing a lot of Black women as an
Yeah.
autoimmune disease. Can
Yes.
you give my other listeners some signs that they should seek medical attention
Yeah.
that you saw in your body that maybe you didn't know before? Mm.
Yeah. Respiratory changes. I know for
Mm.
me, when I actually got diagnosed, I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, and everybody know
Mhm.
ATL in the
Mhm.
summertime is hot.
Okay.
If you've never been to Atlanta, warning, great place, but in the summertime it is hot.
Okay.
But as the season was changing
Mhm.
from summer to fall, I
Mhm.
noticed that I had what I thought was a cold,
Mhm.
but it never went away. Um,
Right.
I was going to the doctor, gave me antibiotics, of course, but it still wasn't going away. So that was the first change I noticed with my
Mhm.
breathing,
Would you be good? Yeah.
just having a little harder time breathing. And then with my joints,
Mm.
being in pain, just
Mm.
abnormal pain to where it would hurt to walk at times.
Mhm. Yeah.
The fatigue,
Wow.
just a type of fatigue. It's not like, oh, I'm a little tired. This is, I am tired. I can't even drive hardly. I'm so tired.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, those were like flashing red lights for me.
Mhm. 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 And so after you did all your transformation and you got better and everything, if you had to list five things that these people have to do to make that holistic transformation with their diet or with behavior, they have to do this today, starting today. What would you tell them to do?
Okay. First thing, believe in the possibilities.
Right. Okay.
Because whatever you believe in your mind, that is your reality.
Mhm.
If you believe that, oh, I'm sick and I'll never
Mhm.
get well, you won't.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
have real belief that things can change for you. That's first thing. Second thing, get around different people.
Mhm.
Get around different people. Even like for me, when I was sick, yeah, my health had got to a point where I wasn't really able to go out
Mhm.
much. But we live in a virtual world, people. You can
Yeah.
get in
Exactly.
Facebook groups. You can join just so many virtual ways to connect with people. So get in different rooms, listen to different thoughts, because that was
Mhm.
game changing. Just getting
Mhm.
in different rooms. Third thing, how can I put this? learn how to lose everything.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Learn how to lose everything. Because in your current state, if it's not working for you,
Gotta let it go.
it's okay to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Be willing to let it go and see what develops. But don't hold on to your past life. Yeah, it's the past.
Mm.
Be
Yeah.
ready to let it go. All right, that's three. Fourth thing, be open to trying new things.
Right.
I feel like sometimes in our community, we are used to eating, especially when we think about our diet. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
grew up eating ribs and, just all kinds of pork stuff and
Yeah.
fried and,
And fried every
you know,
day.
but just be open. Try
Mm-hmm.
it. Try new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Go to different areas. For me, yes, I was born and raised here in the South. And so in
Mm-hmm.
the South, we're known for good food, but it might not
Yeah.
be the healthiest food.
Right.
But be open to trying new things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just expand your horizons.
Right.
Just give it a try. Some things you may like, some things not, but at least
Mm-hmm.
be open to the possibility.
Right. Right.
And the last thing, five, we're five. Last thing I would say is talk with God
Mm-hmm.
every single day. Talk with God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is that's good. That's champion. That's a challenge right there. You gotta make that a priority. Yeah. Talking
Yeah.
with God. Yep. So in the future, what are we working on for the future with your business and what are we doing next? Are you gonna be speaking, doing some?
Yes, I'm super excited. You'll find me speaking at the Juneteenth Legacy
Mm-hmm.
conference. You'll find me speaking there later this month. If you hadn't got your tickets, when you head to my link tree, you could
Mm-hmm.
get tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. George Fraser will be there. Will be so many incredible speakers. It
Mm-hmm.
is virtual,
Okay.
so your location does not matter. So be sure to join that conference. You're going to leave with some really priceless information on creating wealth, creating,
Right.
maintaining wealth. And that's something that's really important in our community right now. So you'll find me there speaking. Another thing that's in the works, I'm currently writing what
All
will be
right.
my
That's
next book.
exciting.
So um, I'm hoping that maybe by the end of this year or early
Mm-hmm.
next year, you'll get to see my new book.
Okay.
Um, as I mentioned, my digital course, Unlocking the New True Authentic You. Um, Super excited about the impact
Mm-hmm.
that it's made thus far in the lives of the Black women who have enrolled in that.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
awesome.
be sure to check that out when you go to my link tree just to learn a little more about that course. And if you're a Black woman who is ready to have more confidence, boosting self-esteem, go ahead and join and become the best version of you, ready to unapologetically love yourself. So that's what's going on in my world right now.
Okay.
Oh, I almost forgot. Shout out to NASDAQ. I'm super
Okay.
excited to be part of NASDAQ
Okay.
Milestone Circles Network. It's
Awesome.
amazing. So um,
Congratulations.
soon you'll be seeing me walk the stage and graduate from that program. That'll be the end of the summer. So,
Awesome. Congratulations. Okay. So lastly, I'm going to ask Cassandra, what are you reading? What are you currently reading?
yes, right now I am reading a book from Valerie Burden,
Mm-hmm.
um, Life Coaching for Successful Women.
Mm-hmm. And would you recommend a book to the audience about the transformation?
Yes, I would say a book is especially for the Black women in the audience. A great book for that is The Love Letters to My Girls.
Mm,
And that's a book that was written by about 116 Black women came together to do that project. I happen to be one of the Black women who came
okay.
together for that project.
Awesome.
But we put a lot of heart and soul into that book. And if you're a Black woman who's ready to transform, I highly recommend that for your transformation. But if you're not a Black woman, we might got some
Yeah,
brothers
you're
listening, we might have some men listening. Another book that I highly recommend in transformation is by which one? I was gonna say one. I'm a big reader.
right.
I'm gonna say Ayana Van Zant book,
Okay.
Destiny, I believe is the
Destiny.
title.
Okay. Destiny. That's a good book on transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the recommendation. And also, I thank you for sharing your wisdom and insight with us today. And it's been a very inspiring and uplifting even conversation. I'm glad that you were able to make it with us. Did you have anything else you wanted to add and let them know finally where they're going to find you again?
Yes. I just want to add that anyone who has the ability to love
Hmm.
should start with themselves.
All right.
All
Well,
right. So stay plugged in to me. Connect with me. Linktree /Healer Cassandra. There you'll see all my links. You can get your ticket for the Juneteenth Legacy Conference and all other resources that I have are there at the Linktree Healer Cassandra.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Cassandra, again. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Shape Your Truth podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Kamika. And on this podcast, we talk about weight loss, we talk about self realization, and we talk about self development. And today, we talked about transforming, having a transformation journey. Remember to be smart, stay confident, and stay real to yourself. Okay, until next time, we'll see you later. Bye bye.